Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is a Friday. It is 2 p.m. We are feeling good because the sunshine is out. At least it is here in southeastern Wisconsin. If it's not in Wausau, Superior, Duluth, Green Bay, Appleton, I'm sorry. But it's out here. Kind of cool. I like having the sun. I was actually kind of warm outside. It's like 60-some degrees down here. Still wearing my jacket, though. Still got my Brewers jacket on. You can see that in the live stream at X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Guest-free show, kind of, sort of. Austin Herdenia, are we confirmed for Austin Herdenia? He is on, as always. Follow the money at the very end. Plus, we'll have Things Sparky Missed, brought to you by the Admirals. Outside of that, we don't have time for guests. We don't. There is so much to talk about here on a Friday. There is so much to talk about. So we got the Giannis stuff, obviously. We got to still talk a little bit more and wrap up our coverage on Badgers and High Point from yesterday, even though we were on right at the end of the game. But we got some sound stuff I want to play. Talk about that. Got to talk about High Point's coach, Flynn Clayman, talking about high majors avoiding mid-majors. Lots of people have conversations about that. We got to get into that. Brandon Woodruff stuff. He talked after the game yesterday after not touching 90. Got to jump into that. Got so much going on, man. Plus, this whole apparent rumblings of an 18-game schedule where players are only going to have to play 17 games in the NFL is potentially as part of the new CBA. So getting into that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Plus, it's Plead the Fifth, brought to you by fine folks over there at Havish, and Rotier. If you want to tell somebody, shh, be quiet, enough, I don't want to hear from you anymore. All you got to do is text in your nominations to 416-777-1250, 414-677-1250. Text those nominations in. And we can get some of those coming up at 4:20, or you can just dial it up and call in. Again, it can be literally anybody. I don't care who it is. It can be your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your grandfather, your grandparents, Charlie, me, any other person on the radio station you're listening to, or callers that call in. You want to tell Ram on the north side, shh, and then say what take got you mad? You can do that. Absolutely, right? You absolutely can do that. So we're here for you. Again, that's 4:20 every Friday. Brought to you by Havish, and Rotier. All right, we're going to start off with all of this stuff going on with Giannis. So Ramona Shelburne did a great piece on ESPN. Yes, I gave credit to somebody on ESPN for doing a good piece. It happened. But in that piece, Wesley Edens pretty much said, hey, look, this is the deal. And it was her, Wesley Edens, and I think Jimmy Haslam, even though I don't believe there's really any quotes from Jimmy Haslam in the entire piece. So Edens pretty much said, this is the deal for Giannis. Y'all want to keep talking about it. So he's got to figure out whether or not he's going to sign Supermax in October, or if the answer is no, then we're trading him. Simple. Now, there's way more in this piece than that little nugget that everybody's running with on social media. There's a lot of things concerning the future of this organization and one Jimmy Haslam. We will dive into that at 3:20. I feel like nobody actually read this piece. They took the first quote because that's the juicy one about Giannis and ran with it. But Bucks fans, I implore you to go read the rest of that long piece, because concern from my standpoint after reading that piece. But we'll get into that at 3:20. We'll stay here to start with this Giannis conversation. Now, I'm not going to ask you whether or not you think this was a good decision by them, because it's the only decision. You cannot allow him to walk in free agency. You cannot get into the season after you do the entire offseason of, okay, we're going to build with Giannis. Here we go. We're hoping he'll sign. We don't know, but we hope he will. So we're going to do everything we can to try and save him. And then realize that, you know what? I'm not going to sign it. And then you have to trade him either right at the beginning of the season or at the deadline, and you really screw yourself and everything. It's just all screwed up. Like, this was the most obvious thing for anybody to say. And how anybody could be surprised by this is beyond me. Like, this is the right move. Now, Am I a little worried about one little part of this? Please tell me y'all told Giannis this before you told her. Please tell me that Giannis and his agents know what you just said publicly. Please tell me this isn't the first time they're hearing of such a thing. Now, I would believe Wesley Eden's a smart enough businessman to know not to do this. By the way, in that piece, you will see how Wesley Eden's net worth plummeted in half in 2025. That wasn't very good for Wesley Eden's either. But when you read it and you see it, part of you is like, man, we're going to have to trade Giannis. This stinks. Yeah, it does. I agree. It does stink. But my question to you is this. Would you give Giannis a deadline to agree to sign his Supermax? Now, he can't sign it till October, right? So what essentially I'm suggesting is you go to Giannis and his representation when the season's done and go, hey, this is the deal. As an organization, not from your perspective, Giannis, but from our perspective, we have two paths. We have one path that takes us to the next chapter of this organization without you. And our offseason plans look one way. And we have another path that includes you agreeing to sign the Supermax in October, right? And then we go all in and try and figure out how we win another championship here in the next 3 or 4 years. Because he can't sign until October. So all you're looking for here is a verbal agreement of, yes, I'm going to sign. Do what you can to put whatever it is around me. Let's go. And maybe you show him the roadmap. Giannis, this is our roadmap. This is what we have written down on paper of how we would like to tack the offseason if you want to come back and sign the Supermax October 1st. That's our plan. Now, we need a decision by you. If it's me, I want a decision by June 1st. Have to have it. The draft is at the end of June. Free agency starts in the beginning of July. I need to know by June 1st what we're doing here. Because if you are out, no hard feelings. I'm not going to be mad about it. We're good. See you around the bend, buddy. But I then, as an owner, by the way, you read this, you realize John Horst, he's just a figurehead at this point. He's there, but so from an owner perspective, I've got to figure out how I get one of these top 3 or top 4 players in this draft. That's what I got to figure out. And if I can include you to get me one of those players, then we're going to include you to get me one of those players. Because realistically, if the Bucks end up with two guys in the top 10 of this draft, you feel pretty good about yourself. Even if you don't get as much draft capital on the other side of this, right? So instead of getting 4 ones, maybe you only get 3 ones or something like that, because whoever it is giving up this pick is like, damn right well, I'm giving you a star player with this pick. So I'm not giving you as much in return. But for me, I go to Giannis and his representation and go, you have till June 1st. I need an answer, yes or no. And I'm not playing games. And I don't care one way or the other if you want to make this public or not, but I've already made it public that if you say no, I'm trading you. So if you don't want to tell everybody that you said no and you get traded, everybody's going to know why you got traded. So you can do this however you want to do it publicly on your side of things. And I'm not going to sit here and declare, on May 30th, Giannis just told us no, we got to trade him now. I'm not going to go to the press and tell anybody anything. I just need to know an answer. You can tell me on May 1st that you're out. That's fine too. If you know right now, you can tell me right now. But I got to have a deadline. I can't let this drag on until October. You completely screw this organization. There has to be a deadline in place for him to give you an answer. And if he doesn't like it, well, that's too damn bad. But from an organizational standpoint, in my opinion, at least, you've got to give him a deadline. Would you give Giannis a deadline to give you an answer to whether or not he's going to sign his Supermax in October? Again, this is a verbal, right? You can't sign until October, but you need a verbal commitment, either yes or no. Now I need an answer, and you got to stand on it. That's it. No more screwing around, no more playing around with your agents talking to the media and all this other stuff going on. You got to give me an answer, one way or the other, and then we go. Nikolay Law Talk and text line. Would you give Giannis a deadline to sign, to give you a verbal agreement to sign a Supermax spot? 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials, WI Sports Radio. Already got people in the Dugout YouTube chat over there at WI Sports Radio on YouTube. We're also streaming on X as well.
Not just people. That is our friend, Brandon Snide.
Yep.
Saying, trade him, all caps, multiple exclamation points.
Yeah, if you listen to 9 to Noon, you know he's pro-trade Giannis. And John Kuhn and Rami have been giving him some business about it, especially Rami. Rami, wants nothing to do with it. And listen, I get it. You're talking about trading the best player in franchise history. Guy that won you a championship. The best player probably all of us will ever see in the rest of our lives in a Bucks uniform. Now we're talking about getting rid of. But you do not have a choice if he's not going to sign the Supermax. You cannot allow this to go through all of next year and he decides, I'm not picking up the player option. I'm walking in free agency. And you get nothing. Nothing. That's a problem. That cannot be a thing. You've got to stop that before that gets out of control. It just does. Now, that story came out today. Yesterday, Chris Haynes, NBA insider, was on Sirius XM and said this. Sure. But you don't get to wait to see if we can do this or not. This is what we want to do. You're in or you're out. I'm not guaranteeing you we can pull this off, but this is what we want to try and pull off. I can't wait till the end of July and then you come to me and go, yeah, you didn't do enough. I'm out. Because if I'm doing all this, it's for the now. That plan does not exist if you decide you're out. Then I just screwed up everything by playing for the now. If you're out, this team you see on paper, we're blowing up and getting as many assets as possible, and we are going to go straight down to single digits or 12 or 15 wins next year. That's going to be the plan. I am not going to sit here and go out and trade future picks for veteran players to try and be above board. In that article, they talked about, they wanted Mobley from Cleveland. Why? I want Mobley from Cleveland. You can keep Mobley in Cleveland. He's not a difference maker. He ain't going to change anything. I don't want him. Hedgecomb in Philadelphia. That's another one. Lot of hot praise on Hedgecomb. Philly fans love Hedgecomb. Maybe he's going to be Kobe or something. Maybe he is. I'd rather have a top 5 pick, top 4 pick. Give me that. You can keep your guys. You can keep them. I don't want them. I want the pick at the top of this draft. That's what I want. That's the most important thing to me. Get me in a position to go get the Bonsta. That's what I want. Let 1 or 2 somewhere in that area get me up there to go get one of those guys.
I think that would be your best bet. I don't even think your picks, like the guys you talked about, Evan Mobley and VJ Edgecombe, they kind of fit what the Bucks have been able to do in the past with their trades. Like Drew Holiday was a pretty underrated player when he was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, and then kind of rises to that low-level stardom because of playing with Giannis and his ability to be that perimeter defender consistently. Damian Lillard, I think, was relatively underrated despite being that NBA top 75 player. A lot of people don't talk about Damian Lillard in that same vein because him and the Portland Trailblazers have not been able to win basketball games beyond the first round of the playoffs before. So he's kind of underrated in that mode too. That's what Evan Mobley is. That's what VJ Edgecombe is. What we're talking about to get Giannis to stay is not those guys. It's stars. We're talking about players that are in LA in Boston, these types of guys that are going to be available potentially that you could go out and make some kind of move for, that the Bucks just don't have the ability to do so. So coming out here and being Chris Haynes and saying that, oh yeah, there's a world where they can do this, that's so far-fetched for the Milwaukee Bucks right now, and I don't think you can rely on that.
It all depends, because on draft night, I believe they're going to have 3 ones available to them, right? So they'll have theirs and then 2 other years, 31 and 33 or something like that, available. So they will have 3 ones available on draft night if they wanted to do something. And they're going to have potentially a top 10 pick in a loaded draft class to move on from if that is something they choose or want to do at that point. Then the other part of this is, how good do you think Jeng is? How good do you think Ryan Rollins are? Are those 2 guys that can be on a championship caliber lineup in a starting lineup? You all know my thoughts on that.
Talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, no. I mean, they just don't have those guys. All right, we got calls. We'll get to the calls. Nikolai Lautaka text line. Would you give Giannis a deadline to sign this, to agree to sign the extension by 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. I got to play this too. Brian Windhorst on the Rich Eisen show talking about this whole deal with the Bucks and Giannis. Stop. This is no different than every other freaking league. It's no different. You have a dumb lottery, which makes it even a harder case for the worst team in the league to get one. But if there's a Peyton Manning out there and it's hey, no doubter, this is our guy. Even that year, that wasn't a no doubter. There was debate between Manning and Ryan Leaf among many teams and many people on TV of who the guy who was going to have the better career was. So even that. But let's say LeBron, right? Another LeBron. If that were the case, it'd be the same thing. If there was an Ohtani-like character that was available in the MLB draft the next year and your team isn't good, you're telling me they're not going to try and figure out how to make dang sure they got a chance to go get that kid at the top of the draft the next year? And again, they instituted a dumb lottery too now. But again, every league, if you have premier talent in the next year's draft and you're not good, yes, every league, every team that isn't good should be going about it this way, because it's about the future of your organization. The current present state of your organization sucks and it's not going anywhere. In order to turn that corner and have a brighter future and talk about championships, you need difference makers. You need superstars. And if there are those players at the top of a draft in the MLB, in the NFL, in the NBA, or NHL, and you're going to sit here and tell me and criticize, oh, Milwaukee's not trying. Unbelievable. How embarrassing is that? And then they land the Bonsta and won in the draft, and now they have a superstar and they're on the right road again. Do you think the organization's going to care that you ripped them for a whole second half of the year? If Utah gets to Bonsta to go with what they have already, did you watch last night? To go with what they have already, man, Utah is set for a long time, and they'll gladly play that $500,000 fine from in the last couple of weeks that they got fined by the NBA. Who cares?
Well, it's because they let their young players play. It's because they go and get a ton of draft picks. It's because they're run by people that know what they're doing and know how to plan for the future. Frankly, you say all these bad teams, every good team should at least be doing the research as if they could get that pick, and to see if maybe they can trade a couple players, some of their future picks, to get that pick too, if they feel like that guy's that good of that big of a game changer. Yeah. So if this is something that's that easy to see that all 30 teams should be trying to do that, as a bad team, you should never try to go away from that just because you have Giannis on your team. You should try to be able to convince Giannis of that.
Here's Brian Windhorst, more of him again on the Rich Eisen show. Yes. Stop. This is what drives me nuts about this guy. He gives you half the facts. So anybody listening to this show that does not know the Bucs situation thinks that they potentially aren't going to have a first-round pick, which is not true because Atlanta gets the better of the Pelicans or Bucs pick. I was just having this conversation yesterday at Pato. Do you know what the best case scenario for the Bucs is? The best case. They win the lottery. What you want to have happen on lottery day in May, you want the Bucs to win the lottery. And I know, well, then Atlanta gets one. Right. But the Pelicans more than likely are going to be top 3, top 4, because they're horrible. So they get one. Cool. We get the Pelicans pick, and now you're 3 or 4, and now everything isn't so bad anymore. The best case scenario for the Bucs is that they win that damn lottery. That's what you want. That's the best case scenario. Moving on with Windhorse here. Yep. Doubtful. It's amazing. Now we get to the time where he might get traded. Now everybody wants to talk about his injury status. For the last 3 years, the organizations got hammered by the media about not doing enough for Giannis, and they should have done more to surround him with better talent and everything else. Nobody wanted to talk about Giannis injuries for 3 years. Now we're getting in a position where they're going to have to trade him, and Milwaukee is in that position possibly. Now we all want to talk about injuries again. Why? Well, the Bucs are going to get less because people are going to bring up the injuries, obviously. Trell on the north side of Milwaukee, you're up first on the Nicolay Law Talking text line here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Trell?
What's going on, Sparky? Here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
I was gonna say, Sparky, I told you that this type of situation was gonna happen, man.
But does he walk away from? But the thing is he going to walk away from all that money? That's the thing.
Yeah, he's gonna walk away from it, Sparky.
That's the thing.
He's not gonna sign he's not gonna sign that extension, and the reason is because right now Giannis is being petty. Giannis knew a lot of this situation. And he told the Bucs beforehand that he didn't want to play with this type of thing because the Bucs knew this was a possibility that they might have to be in a situation where they were trying to get to the lottery and trying to bury the team that way. And Giannis said he wanted no parts of it. Giannis wanted to be traded. I know the reports came out. I know he did that media thing that he did about how he loves Milwaukee and all that. That man wanted to be traded. And I think Milwaukee played their cards like, we're not trading you. We're not trading you till we have to trade you. And the summertime is when they pretty much have to trade him. So now he's being petty. And I'm hoping, because the media is trying to do a good job of trying to get Milwaukee the least offer that they can probably get, which is a load of crap. Trying to see if they can get him to a bigger market that doesn't have to give as much for him because so-called injuries all of a sudden. But my thing is that Giannis screws the Bucs if he doesn't sign the extension, which I believe he won't, and then he tells them only 2 teams I'll go to and sign an extension.
Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. I don't care what he says. That's not going to change my opinion of where I'm trading him to. He could tell me, I'm only going to sign in Miami. I'm only going to sign with the Lakers. I don't give a damn where you think you're going to sign. I'm going to trade him to whoever gives me the best package. That's where he's going. Plain and simple. I'm not. No, you're not going to.
But I'm just saying, Sparky, who's really going to give him a package if he ain't going to be there for 1 year?
Listen, depending on how close the team is, you're telling me you don't think they'll sell Giannis Bulls jerseys or Giannis T-Wolves jerseys or whatever?
Oh, absolutely.
You're going to sell out all the games, even if he's there for a year. They're going to make a ton of money on that situation.
Yeah, so I guess if we can catch something like that where you get a team that's willing to gamble for a year without him agreeing to do a what's name and they get something, if that's how it goes, I'm all for it. I just want the Bucks to get as much as possible. I've been tired of this saga for over a year. So I believe he's to the point that he's been ready to go. So just trade him, get the best package from Milwaukee, and let's move on and evaluate these draft players for this year going forward. That's what I want. Where I'm at with the situation.
All right, Trail. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Thunder just texted me. He said, "Sparky, Pelicans have been playing better lately. You should look at the standings." So I'm looking at the standings, and he is right. The Pelicans are now 25-46. So right now they're 7th, somewhere in that area. Let's see here. The worst team is Indiana at 15 wins at this point. Then Washington at 16, Brooklyn at 17, Sacramento at 18. So that's your top 4. Please, basketball gods, do not like the bands to end up in Indiana. Oh my God. That would be absolute. I don't care if he goes to Washington. I don't care if he goes to Brooklyn, Sacramento, Utah. Don't care. Anywhere but Indiana. Do not let Indiana get 1. Like, let Indiana fall back to 4, please. Do not let them get 1. That would not be good. Anyways, so you got those. Utah at 21, Dallas 23, and then New Orleans at 25 right now. So they are currently sitting in the 7th spot. So the Bucks are sitting in the... Where are the Bucks sitting here? The Bucks are sitting like 10 right now. So you're talking about 7 and 10. But again, 3 spots are 3 spots potentially if you can get it. And hopefully somebody in New Orleans wakes up and says, "What the hell are we doing? Like, why are we trying to win? That should not be the situation at hand right now. We should be trying to lose." But I guess it doesn't matter for them because they don't get the pick anyhow.
I guess it doesn't.
No.
But at the same time, I think just this Pelicans team, in my mind, the way that they're built right now doesn't feel like that it's a long-term plan with DeJounte Murray on that team. I know he's been playing well, but he doesn't feel like a long-term option for them. Zion Williamson doesn't feel like a long-term option for me. This doesn't feel like a team that should be trying to win right now, even if it doesn't have any draft incentive on it, just for the future, so you can be able to find ways to sell those guys instead of doing what the Bucks are doing and holding on to a dream.
Be great to see the Pelicans and the Bucks. That's potentially right. They both could end up technically in the top 3. That'd be great. I'd be all for that.
I'd be down for that. I think, again, at the same time, if the Pelicans keep playing the way they are, though, and they don't just realize where they're at currently with their franchise, that they're not going to get to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. You could be right. No question. All right, take a quick time out. Got a couple I want to get to here. 262 says, "Tell 34 to shut up and sit down" on the Nicolay Law talk and text line. Let's see. 715 says, Brandon, talking about Brandon Snide wanting to trade Giannis. Brandon's just hungry because he hasn't eaten in days. He hates everything about college athletics, and he hates everything about the Bucks right now. From the 715. All of those are accurate. He does seemingly not like college basketball. He's definitely mad at the Bucks. He'd be mad at the Bucks too if you had to do a podcast every single day on the Bucks, like he does on Locked On Bucks.
This guy's hated sports a lot recently. Brandon Snide.
Yeah.
Like all his favorite teams, whenever they lose, he just automatically goes into this state, I feel like, of just depression sometimes.
I'm just telling you, if we live long enough and are working with Brandon long enough, if the Packers ever go into the tank like they used to be back in the day, I feel sorry for everybody around Brandon Snide if that ever happens. He's going to lose his mind. Coming up next, we're going to switch gears from the Bucks. I want to get more into that Badgers high point game from yesterday. Where does this rank as one of your all-time letdowns as a Badgers fan? Where does this rank as one of your all-time letdowns as a Badgers fan? Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
I don't know how.
That is amazing. The call by the High Point broadcaster. They're looking in their 20s, but they had the time of their lives. They'll never forget that moment ever.
Well, I don't know how the play-by-play guy kept his composure because the analyst guy or whoever he was falling out of his chair on the other side of him. Like, didn't care, wasn't just yelling whatever he wanted.
Did not care.
Awesome.
Went into total fan mode at that point and did not care. All right, let's talk about this Badger High Point game yesterday. Obviously, we talked about it once the game was done. And want to get more of your thoughts on this. Where does this rank as one of your all-time letdowns as a Badger fan? I got a list of them here. So I want to see where it ranks for you. Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. This was Greg Gard after the game yesterday. That was nice. You could just play that back after every loss in the first round or second round for Greg Gard and the Badgers. Again, but that is the measured, appropriate, thoughtful response. That wasn't a hothead, angry that they lost, mad at the referees like Brad Underwood of Illinois would be, complaining about everything. That was a first-class way of handling that situation by Greg Gard. Then these poor college students are sitting at their locker, and here comes the media to talk to them. And, well, John Blackwell, who thought he might be going in the NBA draft and then didn't and came back to Wisconsin, said this. Sucks. You can feel the pain, the emotion, everything that goes along with it. And John Blackwell more than likely will be in the G League or playing overseas. Maybe he'll be on the end of a bench in the NBA, whatever the case is for him. Tanji's playing right now. So, there's a good chance. But this here, as you can tell by him, was just a huge year in his life of everything that he had going on. And to go through with these guys, yeah, they didn't finish and all of that, but the bonds and the friendships will be lifetime type stuff, Charlie.
100%. This is stuff that you can't forget. Just these moments, just this entire season. Past 2 seasons for John Blackwell have just been, again, a roller coaster ride up and down and just those really high highs. But you have moments like this where you have these really low lows, and you have to learn to appreciate both those things, especially in moments like this that are fleeting so fast. John Blackwell is going to have a bright future. It seems like he's probably going to get a shot in the NBA in some regard. I think Nick Boyd will too. Both these guys have to remember what this felt like in order to take that next step and whatever future holds for them.
No doubt. Flynn Clayman was on You Better You Bet right there on the Westwood One network earlier today and had this to say about his post-game interview. And that goes back to the scheduling issues that he had about the mid-majors not being able to schedule any high majors. Nobody wants to play any of these really good mid-major schools. And we'll jump back into some more of that coming up in the next segment. The question we have for you is, where does this rank as one of your all-time letdowns as a Badgers fan? Where does this rank as one of your all-time letdowns as a Badger fan? Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. KJ in West Dallas, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, KJ?
Good afternoon, Sparky. Thanks for taking my call.
You betcha.
This is high point was a low point. High point was a low point. You see what I did there?
Yeah, I got it. Yep.
And I've only been watching the Badgers, seriously for the last, 15 years. And it was a bad loss. I mean, they really had no business losing to that team. Their guards were much better than their guards, although I'll tell you what, it was the defense that let them down, and their bigs. Their bigs were terrible in that game. And when you don't play defense in a tournament like that, and you get a team that's hot. I mean, they made 15 threes, Sparky.
Yep.
15. And that's what beat them.
I mean, you're talking about the bigs earlier. Nolan Winter comes back from his injury. Obviously, they got him on a points minutes restriction or whatever in that first game back, which we said was probably going to be the case going into this game. But again, you didn't think you were going to probably need to have him for 30 minutes or something out there. In his first 15 minutes on the floor, he had one rebound. Damn, you're 7 feet tall. He had one rebound in 15 minutes. Man, you got to do better than that. Even though you're coming off of injury, you got to be better than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't like the way that they coached that game. I wasn't a big fan of the way they coached that game down the stretch. And, they just didn't execute.
All right, so tell me about Badger losses. What comes to mind for you? Because I got a list here. Obviously, the national title game has to be near the top against Duke.
Oh, yeah.
That's got to be one, right?
Yeah, that's got to be one. This has got to be, 2 or 2B or whatever. It's been a couple of them. I mean, when you lose in the first round, I don't know how many times they lost in the first round consecutively, Sparky, but it's been a lot.
Yep.
And you got to get past this, because if you don't, you could possibly go into a lull like the Badgers football team.
No. Goodbye. No, we're not doing this. No. B in Burlington uses the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. This was the worst opening round loss guard has had yet. Candace Parker just said the tournament is all about guard play. Wisconsin had one of the best backcourts in the country. Right. And I've been saying that for the last, month to month and a half. You had 2 good guards and a good big, and you have a chance to make a run. The problem is your big was hurt, and his first game back didn't do all that great. Rapp hit a couple of threes for you. That was nice. But your leading rebounder in that game was John Blackwell with 10 damn rebounds from the guard position. You got to do better than that. Your transition defense was non-existent. We got to get to a timeout. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
I loved that he took the moment. It was the press conference thing you saw, and then what everyone else saw on the floor after the game. This is Flynn Clayman. He's in year one as a head coach of the High Point Panthers, and he immediately goes into, no one wanted to play us. That we knew how good we were. The system needs to change. He had his stump speech ready. I love this. And by the way, bring you behind the curtain a little bit more. Why did no one want to play High Point? Well, this team made the tournament a year ago. Brought back key pieces. I'm told by sources that its NIL pool easily north of $4 million this season. That's one of the biggest NIL bags, so to speak, that you'll find at the mid-major level. And so other high major teams see a tournament team bringing back pieces, paying out for NIL. We don't want to play them. No shot. And so Flynn, like these coaches, they get sick of it. Like it's a job. They're trying to get one or two. Can I get one or two top 100 opponents on our schedule? It doesn't happen. So then you sit and you stew. They get 30 wins. They get back, and then they knock off a Wisconsin team that, frankly, was top 5 in the country in terms of best collection of wins. I love that he did that. This is an important message to be sent, and we've got it here in back-to-back nights. We got it with Miami on Wednesday in the first 4, beating SMU by double digits. You saw how Travis Steele responded. Hey, we're not satisfied. We're not done. He's already had all season long to tell you about their scheduling and what they could and could not get. And now here you got Flynn Clayman, new to the scene. Most people did not know who this guy was. By virtue of that team, John, winning that game and him immediately saying scheduling models got to change in college basketball because there are good teams that don't get the benefit of playing real opponents and they shut us out. And the only time they got to play us is when they're forced to play us. And now you look what happens.
Yep, Matt and Norlander there on CBS. Great points there. Right now, Wright State's down 3 to Virginia. That's a 14-3. Wright State damn good in the Horizon League this year. Santa Clara took Kentucky to overtime today before they lost to Kentucky. I mean, there have been a lot of good showings by some of these mid-majors and lower major schools to this point.
It's been impressive, especially since a lot of people are saying the Cinderella isn't really a thing anymore. You have a lot of these other big coaches and these other people on CBS saying, oh, the league is holding these other teams back. The NCAA is holding these mid-majors back. But you see what they're doing on this giant stage. Nobody's holding them back.
Nobody is holding them back. Here's Gary Parrish from CBS.
I love that Flynn used that moment in the postgame with Jared Greenberg to emphasize the scheduling problem we do have in college basketball. We focus so much on Miami, Ohio, and how Travis Steele and his program tried to schedule high major opponents, but they couldn't get the games. The same thing happened at High Point, and it is something that needs to be addressed in the sport. And I've got an easy PR win for any high major coach who wants to take advantage of it right now. Just get on the phone with your favorite podcaster and tell them you want to schedule a Miami, Ohio. You want to schedule a High Point. You want to be the high major coach who sets an example for the rest. I don't know if it'll be the smartest thing you've ever done, but it'll be a PR win, and it is something college basketball fans want to see.
I don't know. I don't think fans at Kentucky care if they play Wright State or not. I don't think they'll be like, oh, we did it. Mark Pope, you're our hero. Like that. I don't think that's going to be a thing. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up next, let's talk about the Crew. Doesn't appear to be great news on Brandon Woodruff. We'll discuss straight ahead.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in hour number 2. Thank you for listening. Do appreciate it. Hope you all have some fun weekend plans ahead. Charlie is excited not to work his other job this weekend. I know.
Get a little break. You know, I'm going out to Madison to visit some buddies. It should be a good time.
That sounds like a lot of fun. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Speaking of that, coming up Thursday, come watch some baseball with us, hang out, home opener, outdoor tailgate party at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel from 9 a.m. It all starts with 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff from the Annex, right next to the Potawatomi Sportsbook, where we were all day yesterday. Then from 11 to 1, Tommy Wirtz and the franchise, Tim Allen, will be broadcasting the leadoff show from 11 to 1. Then once the game is done, Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz will remain in the Annex and do the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show immediately following that game from 4 until 6 coming up on Thursday. So come hang out. There's shuttles to and from the game. Take advantage of that. First 200 people get their first drinks for free. Read that again. The first 200 people that come to the Annex on Thursday, starting at 9 a.m., get their first drinks for free.
Better get there early because I feel like there's going to be a line starting.
Shuttles begin departing for the ballpark. You want to take their shuttle at 11 a.m. Return shuttle start in the top of the 7th inning and go to 1 hour after the game. So come hang out, home opener, outdoor tailgate party. We'll have some yard games set up that you can play. I'm guessing some bags games and stuff like that too inside the Annex. So come hang out, have a lot of fun, listen to some good radio shows, and enjoy yourself. Before we get to let's talk about the crew segment. Some news from Adam Schefter in the NFL. Free agent defensive tackle Christian Wilkins fully intends to play this season, but still is rehabbing his foot injury per his agent, David Mulligata. So far, 26 teams have reached out and are waiting for Wilkins to be ready. Wilkins is expected to have a new home as soon as he wants. I talked to Charlie when we saw this in the break. I said, Charlie, what do you think? What did you say?
I said, sure, go for it. I wanted him last season. Lock him in.
Okay, so last year, he signed, let's see, where is it? He signed a big deal with the Raiders. 4 years, $110 million deal with the Raiders. He played 1 year. He played 5 games, had that foot injury, and they said, we're good. See ya. And they cut him. ESPN insider Jordan Rahanen, I think is how you say it, all but slammed the door shut on the possibility of the Giants signing Wilkins as a free agent. Quote, whatever happened in that locker room, I don't know exactly what it was, but on top of the injury part, it just sounds like that's going to be a tough one for him to overcome. Ronan said on Giants Nation show, quote, even if it's Dexter Lawrence, who's one of his best friends, it doesn't sound like that's one where it's going to be easy to bring him into your locker room. So that adds to it as well, the drama of, okay, if this guy was a problem in a locker room, do you want to put him into your locker room? Now, if you look at it from the Packer perspective, you have some leadership. You have Micah Parsons. You bring in Hargrave. You have Gannon. You have McKinney. You've got some leaders on the defensive side. And if you heard Aaron Nagler on with the Mason Crosby show earlier with Mitch Thunder Nellis, Aaron Nagler and Mason Crosby were both talking about the fact of this new coaching staff they have on the defensive side of the ball is a very, very experienced coaching staff. And it appears a very talented defensive coaching staff. So that makes you feel better about it as well. Now, Javon Hargrave is listed at 6'2", 307. Devontae White is 6'3", 304. Christian Wilkins is 6'4", 310. These are all according to Pro Football Reference. So give or take some poundage or whatever in height. Wilkins in 23 with the Dolphins had 9 sacks and 10 tackles for losses. In 22 with the Dolphins, 3.5 sacks, 16 tackles for losses. Let's talk about quarterback hits. In 23, he had 23 quarterback hits for the Dolphins. The year previous, 7. The year previous to that, 13.
And this is a guy who's primarily a nose tackle. He does shift out to that kind of wider defensive tackle spot, but he's more head up on the center in that one gap. He's a guy that's going to be right in the middle, exactly what you've been looking for, Sparky.
Right, and he's closing in on age 30. So that's the other part of this. Normally, Goody, not a over 30 guy. Now, free agency has shown you maybe a little bit different with Javon Hargrave.
Bend that rule a little bit, yeah.
I just wonder how cheaply they got Hargrave if they would think of potentially getting into bed here with Christian Wilkins, and then all of a sudden that extension for Devontae Wyatt and making sure you have him long term may not have to be a thing that you necessarily have to worry about. And defensive tackle can be solidified for at least the next couple of years, kind of going forward. And do remember his agent is David Mulligata. Who else did David Mulligata represent on this team?
Jordan Love.
Yeah.
And Micah Parsons.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I don't know.
Curious.
But I'm just saying, if you have Christian Wilkins and you have Javon Hargrave and you have Devontae Wyatt, I no longer got to worry about defensive tackle in this draft.
No,
that changes everything.
You might, well, and if you wanted to draft a defensive tackle and then say you have a little flexibility with what you want to do with Devontae Wyatt leading up to the trade deadline in the season. So if you feel like you need to make a push and that's a guy
just get somebody in position for after Wyatt after this year.
Right. You can find ways to manipulate that situation too. I think the harder part is going to be convincing a guy like Christian Wilkins that he wants to come to Green Bay, depending on how many other teams are going to be interested in him after a year off where he hasn't been in the headlines and stuff like that. And then B, he's played at Clemson. He then went to Miami, was drafted by Miami, and then stayed in the warm weather in Las Vegas. Does he want to play in a place like Green Bay when he's given that option?
I don't know, man. Money talks. And his agent loves the Green Bay Packers because they love to spend money on David Mulligata.
Are they going to offer as much money as 20 other teams if all of them are interested?
I'm just saying, if you look at the salary cap situation for the Packers next year, they can go cheap this year and then give them a big number next year and still be okay and feel okay about things going forward. Just saying. So there's a note on Christian Wilkins. We'll get into more coming up in a Green and Gold update at 4:00.
It's time to talk about the Crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, let's talk about the Crew. So yesterday we had Brandon Woodruff on the mound. And to be honest with you, I wasn't really thinking anything of it because none of these games are on TV. So I don't really think anything of Brewer spring training at this point if I'm not doing the show and we get to this segment. Okay, I'll look over at the box score, or if I see something come across on social media. But there's no games for me to watch on TV. I'm really not going to probably go looking for spring training games. Having said that, I see our guy last night, Kurt Hogue, on X, talking about the Brandon Woodruff outing that he had. Now, again, you know they're baby stepping this. You know they're taking their time with getting him stretched out. There's talk of whether or not he's going to be ready for opening day and so forth. Kurt Hogue posted this last night. Brandon Woodruff pitched into the 4th inning in his final start of spring. His changeup was dynamite tonight, but these were the velos to his final few batters' face on a sweltering 104-degree evening in balmy Arizona. Now, again, fastballs is what we are looking for. Four-seam fastball, 88.8. That was a home run. The next batter, four-seam fastball, 88.6. That was a home run. Not good. And then a four-seam fastball that was a called strike at 87.2. Now, his changeup was around 80 to 81 miles an hour. So that's a 8-mile-an-hour difference, whatever the case may be. But when you are talking about this from a fan perspective, from the idea of he's got to be your ace, he's got to be your stud. Because as much as we like Jacob Mizorowski, there's still a little bit of an unknown of what this is going to look like for an entire season, right? So Woodruff, if healthy, is definitely a 1 for whoever and can be that guy. But he is not going to be a 1 with fastballs topping in the high 80s. The thing that makes you feel a little bit better about this is that they're still in the early stretching out process. If we're in June and he's still not hitting 90, odds are it's probably not going to work for Brandon Woodruff the rest of the year in the rotation, would be my guess.
Probably not, unless for some reason he makes some kind of drastic change with the movement he has on some of his off-speed pitches, where he can make his slider go from the top of his top right corner to the top left corner, bottom left. That's something that some of these younger pitchers are able to do in order to sacrifice some of that speed if they can't get to that point. But I also see Brandon Woodruff not being able to do that. You can't really teach old dogs new tricks, especially stuff like that, where it just takes more pressure on his shoulder, on his arm, on his elbow. That's not a good sign. I would not be surprised, and this would frustrate me a little bit just because Brandon Woodruff is supposed to be this guy. But if he ends up being one of the bullpen guys instead of in this rotation, you start seeing some of these young guys get chances.
No, don't say that. I don't want to think about that. Here is Brandon Woodruff after the game.
You know, you just got to get built up. I mean, it's such a long season that right now it's you go through all this stuff. This is part of the preparation part for the season. So, I mean, it's not like I've not gone through it before. So I was kind of a little bit prepared, but they were pretty aggressive. So they didn't allow me to kind of get into account. So
you've been cautious about not putting timelines on things, but at this point, can you say you'd need one more before a regular season starts?
I think it's probably a game time decision next few days. It's, I don't really know at this moment. So see how I feel tomorrow. And, but yeah, still no. You may know a little bit more than me. I don't know. So,
I know nothing.
Me either. So yeah, I think the important thing is right now is just recovering and getting here the next few days and seeing where I'm at. And then it's just, you go out there and you're seeing some 2s and 3s, and then you have a long inning come out and you see some 89s, 88s, and it's like, yeah, I mean, your body just takes time to adjust. So, I don't know if there's, I guess we're running out of time here, but I mean, I threw 60, I don't know how many pitches, 63 maybe. So I'm kind of in a decent spot pitch count wise. So yeah, I think a lot of that stuff will be determined in the next few days.
And are you waiting for them to tell you, or is it the other way around?
I think it's kind of a collaborative effort. And it always has been. So I've had conversations, and continue to have conversations. It's just filling it out as we get here to the end. So I don't know. What do we have? 3-4 days here left. So enough time to kind of know exactly where I'm at, and then in previous years, you know how it goes. Some of the stuff comes down to the last day. So I'm in a good spot right now, pitch count wise. It's just, what do we want? How do I feel? What do we want? What does the, team want? What do we need? There's a lot of different factors. So, but I'm in a good spot.
So there's Brandon Woodruff. He's not panicking. He's not worried. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Look the other way. Everything is fine. I was listening to Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz this morning on Inside Wisconsin Sports from 6 to 9 a.m., filling in for the vacationing Trevor and Josh. They're both back on Monday, so you get your morning show back on Monday after they head off for a majority of this week. And they were going back and forth about opening day and the fact that, hey, man, they still haven't named an opening day starter to this point.
One of two teams to not do that. The San Diego Padres are the other team. Every other team has named their starter.
Very good. Thank you, Charlie. The question I have for you is this: how concerned about this Brewer starting rotation are you right now? Are you concerned about this rotation? And if so, how concerned are you about this rotation? Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the social, streaming live on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Find us on Instagram. Find us on Facebook. We're everywhere except TikTok. We'll get there eventually. So I texted in to Tommy, and I was like, hey, man, how about a bullpen day to start the season on opening day? And Tommy's like,
keep joking about that.
Tommy's like, I'd be livid. I don't think it's crazy. I'm just saying, I don't think it's nuts. Like, if you're trying to set this up a certain way and buying you another day allows you to get Woodruff into the rotation without having to, be all messed up into where you want him to pitch in the rotation. Listen, they play Thursday. They're off Friday. Then Saturday, Sunday, they play, and they play right again on Monday. There is no off day in between this first series against the White Sox, and I think it's the Rays in the second series. You don't get an off day, and you're at home, so that's good. So, to me, I don't think it's crazy to think Ashby starts and pitches 2 or 3 innings, and then they go get somebody else to come in and pitch a couple of innings, and they just work their way backwards from there. Maybe DL Hall follows Ashby or somebody in between those two, and then they go to DL Hall. I don't know. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. You want to know why it doesn't matter? Do you remember the Yankees series to lead off the season last year? Do you remember everybody, including me, yelling about those bats? And if you don't get those bats, you're idiots, because clearly it's the bats. It wasn't the bats. It was just we weren't very good for a series. That's all it was with the Brewers. Just weren't very good.
The Yankees just had a good offense, which was true all year.
Right, but guess what? It meant nothing. You still won the division. Everything worked out fine. So to sit here and overanalyze who's pitching it on opening day and who's not, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they beat the White Sox on opening day. Would it be nice? Yeah, it would be nice. But it's not end of the world that they lose on opening day to the White Sox. You know what the joy of opening day is? The joy of opening day is hanging out with your friends, hanging out with your family, celebrating the fact that we're closer to warmer days consistently, unlike this crap we've been going through for the last couple of weeks, consistently, that baseball is back, and we get baseball almost every single night now to watch and enjoy and have fun with. That's what it's about. Win, lose, yeah, obviously you want to see them win on opening day. I get it. But this whole thing of, oh, it's such a big deal, they have a named starter. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It just doesn't. So a bullpen day wouldn't matter. This is what matters. What matters is, for how long can you overcome issues? You have Priester with a blister issue. That's why he left his last start. You have this thing going on with Woodruff right now. Then you look at everything else you have. It's young dudes. It's Sproat. It's Harrison. It's Patrick. It's all these guys that you're sitting here trying to figure out where everybody's going to pitch. And if Woodruff starts off on the IL because they say, oh, no, he's not ready, you're going to have all young guys in this rotation. I was trying to get Eno Saras on from The Athletic for today's show and wasn't able to, but he wrote a piece in The Athletic today. In The Athletic today, he did a bold predictions for the upcoming baseball season. Not for every team, just a piece on the league in general. Okay, so he didn't do one for every team. I'm prefacing this by saying he did a person on the Brewers, but he didn't do one on everybody. His bold prediction was that the Miz wins Cy Young. And in that piece, he talks about the Miz apparently coming up with this, what he calls a double circle changeup, and started smiling about it. And he's got the grip in the picture and everything else in this piece. And apparently he threw it against Great Britain, so there's no video evidence of it because they weren't running film because that was an exhibition game, not even a spring training game. Like, it was even more of an exhibition game than a spring training game. And they're talking about the amount of inches that he got vertically and sideways that he did not get at any point on any of his changeups last year. And he points out, like, look, if this works and he can get this type of movement on this changeup to go along with what he has, and then it's still about the consistency. And then it goes into talking about Mizorowski and everything he's been doing to get his delivery to be as repeatable as possible. Because for him, that's the toughest thing, to get everything aligned time after time after time after time again. So that's all he's been working on this offseason, is trying to get that repeatable and get that motion and that process repeatable. So you have that going on with Mizorowski. I will tell you, I'm not concerned about this rotation. I think they have more than enough arms. You have a whole rotation that's down there at AAA that if you call up any one of them for the most part, I'd be like, okay, yeah, just throw them in there. Let's see what happens. I mean, of the guys that are going to be down there, Carlos Rodriguez is probably the worst of the guys in that
He's been the
starting
guy on your
rotation.
40-man roster for the past few years. He's been the top guy in that group. Not even just down in the minor leagues. You have 3 guys in your bullpen that could all potentially be starters in Gasser, Ashby, and Hall. All 3 of those guys could move up into the rotation if you wanted them to, too. I mean, you are set. I'm not as worried about this rotation, and I think it would be a little frustrating to me if they went out there with a bullpen game on that opening day, just because you have Jacob Mizorowski right there. Just pitch him. Just do it. If that weekend is for the fans, which is kind of what you were talking about, put the guy that the fans want to see out there. And as much as the fans love Brandon Woodruff, I think they'd rather even see Jacob Mizorowski if Woodruff is healthy. Just put that guy out there and see what he can do against a young White Sox team in that big spotlight, because we've seen him do it to the top level before in those same type of moments.
You know, the one thing that was surprising yesterday when we started talking about roster decisions, all this stuff, Blake Perkins out and in is Mr. Lockridge. And Lockridge has had a great spring. Do not get me wrong. But I hearken you back to Pat Murphy saying, if they send Blake Perkins down, they're sending me down too, because he's my guy. I'm always going to have him. Well, as far as I know, he hasn't been named the manager of the AAA Sounds yet. And they haven't swapped him out with Rick Sweat yet to have him come up here to be the manager of this team. But when you look at right now as we sit, this rotation today looks like Woodruff, Mizorowski, Patrick Harrison, and Sproat looks to be what the 5 is, unless they decide to make Ashby a starter. That's what it looks like currently. And that's obviously without Priester because of the blister issue and whatever the case may be. Then the bullpen, as it looks right now, because I think Gasser is going to end up is going to AAA. McGill is the closer. Abner Uribe is a setup. And then it's Koenig, Ashby, Zerpa, Hall, Grant Anderson, and Easton McGee potentially.
All right. I feel pretty comfortable with that. I don't feel amazing about that group, but I feel comfortable with that group. And I think that's a good place to at least start the season.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna find out just which way this goes. But again, this here, for me, as you look at this, I feel okay. The bullpen, Easton McGee, Grant Anderson.
Well, Grant Anderson, like, as much as I rag on him too, he was good last year, man.
I know his numbers look fine, but you cannot tell me most people when he came in August and September weren't cringing like, oh no, here he comes. Like, absolutely. And now I'm guessing he's going to be right back in that bullpen. So we'll see how this all plays out. Opening day again is on Thursday. Don't forget the leadoff show will be out at Potawatomi Casino and Hotel right there at the Annex with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz 2 hours before the game, 11-1. The post-game show, Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show will be out there from 4 until 6. Both of those going out there at the Annex Potawatomi Sportsbook. And before all that, 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff from 9 to 11. And if you missed hearing me say this at the beginning of the segment, listen closely. The first 200 people get their drinks for free that come to the Annex coming up on Thursday. Free. And don't forget, they got their shuttles to and from the game. Those shuttles start departing at 11 a.m. Return shuttles start at the top of the 7th inning and go until 1 hour after the game. So looking forward to seeing everybody out at the Annex at Potawatomi coming up on Thursday. Coming up next, back to that piece by Ramona Shelburne on Giannis and the Bucks. We're not going to talk about the hey, you either signed the max extension or we're trading you. We're not talking about that part of it. We're going to talk about the rest of the article, which goes in depth on the ownership of this team and where it's headed and all of that fun stuff. Because I feel like nobody actually read the piece. Everybody went with the initial quote from Edens on the ultimatum, and nobody else dove into the rest of it. Well, I did read the rest of the piece, and we need to discuss this, Bucks fans. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Fiver, Charlie using other side of the glass. I wanted to talk about one more Brewers thing before we switch over here to the Milwaukee Bucks. Brewers are having what they call a spring breakout game today against the Mariners. And what it is, it's essentially the top prospects for both organizations playing against each other in a game. And it's coming up this afternoon. I think it's half hour or so, something like that. So check this out. So here is the starting lineup for the Milwaukee Brewers breakout game today. Leading off at third base, Jet Williams. Where's he playing?
Third base.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Jesus Made at second base.
Okay.
Luis Pena, the DH, batting third. Cooper Pratt cleaning up and at shortstop. I don't like him cleaning up anywhere. No, he's just offensively, he was not that guy last year. Now, maybe it's because AA. Maybe he'll be better at AAA.
Rankings wise, he's still that guy in the prospect list.
Yeah, that's fine. No, he shouldn't be cleaning up. Jefferson Cuero at catcher, batting fifth. Luis Lara in center field. Adam Shevsky in left field. Brock Wilken at first base. And then Braylon Payne, the speedster, in right field. Bishop Letson gets the start for the Brewers, but not playing in this initial starting lineup. You have Marco Dinges, who's there as a catcher. Darian Miller is there as a catcher. Andrew Fisher is on this roster, but not in there. Eric Batante, Bradley Ebel, who had a home run the other day in spring training. So they got so many guys, man. Well, but again, if you look at this roster and you go, okay, take out Brock Wilken, let's say, at first base and make that Andrew Fisher. Now move Fisher up into that 4 spot and slide everybody down. That is a really good lineup.
Well, and Fisher had his spring breakout type of moment at the World Baseball Classic. Yeah. That's probably why they're giving these other guys shots to play in those positions and have him on the bench. Be cool to still see him in this lineup. But yeah, that's a dangerous group of players that, yes, may not all make it to the Brewers major league level, but a lot of those guys are. So this is a nice preview.
I get so
I really like Braylon Payne being in there too. I'm one of his biggest fans.
Are you? You're a big Braylon Payne guy. All right, very good. Okay, so I want to jump back into this piece on Giannis, if you do not mind. So, yes, everybody's talking about the Giannis if, ands, though, ors, or whatever the case may be on, okay, either you agree to sign the extension or we're trading you. Fine. No problem. No problem whatsoever. But if you read down this article, it's a little bit concerning, I guess you could say, one way or the other, as far as how this reads. And the issue that is part of all of this is the ownership group. You have Jamie Dimon, who cannot be a governor. That was not part of his deal, but he's the other third majority owner. Then you have Edens and you have Jimmy Haslam. And Edens and Haslam rotate the governorship. The governorship is in place to 2030, and then it rotates, and then it's Jimmy Haslam's turn. And in this piece, they talk about the idea. Source close to the team said, quote, the more time goes on, the more power Jimmy's going to have. And long-term, it's going to be his anyway. So he's not going to let the guy that's passing controlling ownership on eventually dictate what it looks like. What I'm here to tell you is that is a 5-year deal. That's how these power things go. You get final say at the end of the day. An executive with one of the teams that heavily engaged with the Bucks told ESPN, quote, we mostly dealt with Horace, but our impression was that Jimmy was really the one who would decide this. Said an executive with another team that engaged in talks for Giannis, quote, there were clearly multiple owners there, but you just got the feeling that internally Jimmy is driving more of that train. My question is simply this. How do you feel about the future of this organization now being in the hands of Jimmy Haslam? How does it make you feel? Queasy? I'm beyond nauseous. I don't know about you. Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Said Wesley Edens, it was very, very, very easy because we were just completely united on this whole thing. If we're going to do anything, it's a very serious decision. So we're going to take it seriously, and we try to get the best counsel we can on the player side from John Horst, talking about what they're going to do here with Giannis at the end of the day. One source said about the Lazary and Edens relationship, quote, I knew the relationship was bad, but I didn't realize how bad it was until I saw them at Giannis's wedding in 24, and they wouldn't go near each other. That relationship has been fractured for several years. That just didn't happen at the end. My understanding was that Lazary was the very emotional one that could get off on tangents one way or the other, which, again, shouldn't be surprising to anybody, really, at the end of the day. But when we start talking about the future of this team, it's not good. Now, you can look at it from one of two ways. You can say, Sparky, his MLS team has won. His Columbus Crew team, they won a championship. He's won a championship, Sparky. In organization, not football, but soccer, he won a championship. Give him some credit for that instead of always slamming him about having the worst franchise in the NFL.
All right, I've rolled my eyes, but I shouldn't because I'm a fan of the NBA Cup title that the Bucks have. I think that's legitimate, so I'll let that slide. Yeah,
yeah. So that very well may be that he has that. He brings in one of his guys, Wisconsin native, and puts him in charge of the organization as Peter Fagan exits stage left and heads back to New York. As I've said before, and I'll say again, I don't think Edens is here long term. I don't. My guess would be by the time we get to 2030, 2032, somewhere in that area, he probably will have sold off his part of this to somebody else. And maybe Haslam owns even a bigger piece of this. And then maybe Jamie Dinan goes too and sells off a part of his. And then there's one governor permanently in place. It's Jimmy Haslam. Then you have other part owners of this whole thing that buys up bits and pieces of this thing. And eventually this is Jimmy Haslam's team to do with what he wants. I guess the one thing that makes me feel a little bit okay about this is Jimmy Haslam doesn't appear to be a guy that's trying to move a basketball team necessarily. Because, again, once this group is out and that 5-star forum thing comes up, the point is going to be, oh, my God, we've been horrible. Now what? And it doesn't appear Haslam is that guy to pull that deal. Now, would I be overly shocked, I guess, if he tried it? No, I guess not. But it doesn't appear he's that dude.
Well, and I think Milwaukee has kind of ingrained itself as a historic enough franchise in the NBA, at least a historic enough sports city just across the United States that it'd be hard to kind of pull this type of team out of there. It's not one of these younger teams. It's not the Pelicans and being able to
It's going to be by the time we're to that point.
I know it might be.
Oh, it's going to be.
I don't know. Like, if there's some things that I guess I trust Jimmy Haslam on, if anything, it's the fact that I feel like he does like the teams that he's running, and he does want to be a part of running these organizations and not just being one of those owners that are in the background. And I guess that's something I'm a little frustrated with Edens about in this whole situation is throughout this whole story, it just kind of feels like he's been so willing to allow other people to take control unless they're just completely going against what he's saying, which is what Lazary kind of feels like that division that they've had. Because like Lazary just had a lot of ideas that Edens just didn't feel like were right, but he didn't want to stand up and have his own ideas. So he's willing to pass the buck to somebody else. This whole situation, I said this yesterday, and I just said the phrase, it just feels like everybody's passing the buck over and over again on who should be taking control and then getting mad when other people are frustrated by that.
Well, it feels like this is Jimmy Haslam's ship. That's what it feels like. Doesn't feel like anything else. Yes, Edens has control right now, but as you read this story, it becomes very clear with the people that Ramona Shelburne talked to that it seems like Jimmy Haslam is running this thing right now. And again, as I said earlier, I would simply tell Giannis, you have until this to give me an answer of whether or not you plan on signing this thing. I'm not waiting until October to see what actually happens. Like I need your word one way or the other. Either you're in or you're out. If you're out, no hard feelings, we're good. But we have to figure out then how we move on. There's got to be two roads here. One without Giannis, this is how we're going to approach the summer. One with Giannis, and that's how we're going to approach the summer. Those two roads are not the same road. They're completely going in two different directions. And you cannot allow Giannis to string you along all summer without an answer. You've got to get an end game here and give him a deadline date at the end of the day. But again, if you read that piece and read the quotes, if you are anti-Jimmy Haslam, you are going to be not feeling so well after you read that. Sorry to ruin your Friday. Coming up next, Charlie's Sounds of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back, Wisconsin Sports Daily with you here on a Friday. Hope you enjoy the weather coming up this weekend. I think may take my kid who got golf clubs at Christmas. I may take him to go try out those new golf clubs for the first time, because we have not been to an indoor place or anything like that. And since it's supposed to be warm out tomorrow, I think we may do that tomorrow.
Hit a driving range. That's one of my favorite things to do with my buddies. I think we were planning on that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes the driving ranges have mini golf too, so you can just hop over there and play around a mini golf.
That is another possibility. Yeah. So lots of opportunities to go outside. There's just no way you're going to convince me to stay inside tomorrow. If it's supposed to be 70 where we are now, I don't know what the high is in Duluth, Superior, or Wausau or whatever. I'm sorry, but I'm assuming it'll be relatively warm by you. Yeah, you take advantage of it, because then after that, we go right back down having cold weather again. You get one more day of nice weather, and then it's gone after that. The one thing that never goes away, Habish, and Rotier, baby, since 1930, doing their thing, nearly 100 years, serving Wisconsin communities, 13 locations across the state, southeastern Wisconsin, obviously. WNFL listeners, hey, they're there with you. Green Bay, Appleton, listening to the game in Wausau, we got you there as well. Plus a bunch of other ones, Rhinelander, Sheboygan, Stevens Point. They're all over the place. West Bend, right there in your backyard. Why are there 13 locations? Because they're good. They're really, really, really good. They've won lots of cases. That's how you get to the national reputation, right? You win landmark cases. You win record-breaking cases in the state of Wisconsin. But the other part of their tagline is hometown service. Why is that a big deal? Well, not everybody, as I like to say and others like to say, bedside manner, right? Not everybody has that. In fact, I went somewhere to go get food today. Lady was very rude. I was like, oh, not a good bedside manner. Probably shouldn't be working today. Not in a very good mood. That's not what you want. With Habish, and Rotier, they are there. You are their most important thing, and they're going to take care of you. And they're going to bust their tails to make sure you get what you deserve at the end of the day. Because if you're hurt in a car accident or something like that, it's a very scary time, because you're trying to make out everything that is going on, and you really just need direction with people that you can trust. And that's where Habish, and Rotier come in. Habish.com for more information. Again, go to Habish.com. Habish, and Rotier, national reputation, and the hometown service.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie, which way are we going, my friend?
First up, we're going to head on over to the Ross Tucker podcast, where Andrew Brandt, friend of our show and former Packers executive, was discussing the importance of relationships in your line of work, especially when he started with the Green Bay Packers.
I'll tell you a story. When I got to the Packers, coming out of the agent world, new to the business, new to the industry, I kind of felt like, hey, I want to prove myself out there. I want to get these deals that are good for the Packers, not as good for the players, and frankly, win. And I did for a while. I was sort of fortunate, I guess, if the right word, of getting some inexperienced agents locking up some players long term. But when I say win, I lost. Because what I learned early in my career with the Packers was I was losing relationships. And I was getting some side-eye looks from players who got locked up long-term below market. And it just sort of taught me, like, you want to leave stuff on the table. This is about relationships. The one thing about negotiations and negotiators, it's a long horse race. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I've learned this through a long career. The same people you negotiate with on your way up are the ones you negotiate with on your way down. These are small, small worlds. This applies to anyone listening, whether you're in finance or marketing or engineering or medicine or law or business. These are small worlds you deal with.
I echo that sentiment, and I preach that all the time to my 19-year-old about relationship building, networking, and everything that goes along with it. And don't burn bridges, right? That's something else you always tell your kids or fellow employees. Don't bite the hand that feeds you, because later in life, you may need that hand to pick you up off the ground. That's a hard, hard lesson to learn when you're on the ground and ain't nobody reaching down to help pick you up and dust you off. Just remember that when you get mad at your employer or whatever the case may be careful how you exit. What's next?
Next up, we're going to head on over to WFAN, where Tiki Barber and Sean Marash were discussing the interest locally in the NCAA tournament and why it's lacking this year. I want to know if you feel that same way about the Milwaukee area, Sparky.
It feels like the interest in the NCAA tournament locally is at an all-time low. Now, I think there's
except for Virginia.
Okay. Yeah, whatever you say. What garbage? Except for St. John's.
Yeah.
Obviously, there is excitement about a local school. And tomorrow night, they'll be in action with a chance to begin what will be a very difficult run.
I've noticed this trend the last couple of years, and I think your point is locally, too. We care about St. John's, Hofstra, LIU, but I don't even think we care about the tournament beyond those teams, as evident when St. John's got knocked out last year. I think we have become, at least from a gambling society, such pigs where we gamble on everything. Now, if you are a sports gambler, because that's what made March Madness special, right? Filling out a bracket, betting the games, taking off today. Now it's not only football. You got the NBA playoffs. You're betting home runs in baseball. I think the coolness of, wow, I get to, do something that feels illegal. I'm going to gamble on college basketball. That's gone out the window now. We do it all year long, so it's kind of taking the luster away from March Madness.
I think that's a great point.
I think it's also, there used to be a familiarity with these teams that we always hear about, right? Coach K at Duke. And it was because of the head coach and all his success.
Boeheim at Syracuse.
It's Boeheim at Syracuse. Now it's like, what's the guy's name at Duke? What's his name?
There was a changing of the guard with the legendary head coach.
Right.
That's a fair point, too.
Right. And then you look at, like, Michigan. Yeah. Historically, Michigan had all these great names at head coaches and players. And you're like, all right, well, who's the head coach at Michigan right now?
Top TV markets this last college basketball season. Louisville, number 1. Indianapolis, number 2. Hartford, number 3. Columbus, Ohio, 4. Detroit, 5. Milwaukee, 6. Dayton, 7. Cincy, 8. Minneapolis, St. Paul, 9. Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point, number 10. Top TV markets. That's from USA Today on March 10th. Did you hear New York?
I did not.
No. Did you hear Chicago?
I did not.
Bob up Miami. Los Angeles? None of the big ones. Atlanta?
Nope.
No. Didn't hear any of the major ones. Come on, man. Listen, NCAA tournament's just as big. You go out to any sports bar or wherever you want to go watch tournament games this weekend. You pick where you want to go. Go down to Illinois, go over to Minneapolis, go over to Detroit, wherever you want to go. They're all going to be packed with people watching the games. They're all going to have brackets, paper brackets printed out, sitting on their tables. People will be having parties at their houses this weekend. People will be grilling out the nice weather tomorrow, watching the games all day. No, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Coming up next, we're going to announce another local show being added to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with the new host of that show. That's straight ahead. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. See Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Hughes, and producing on the other side of the glass, enjoying a beautiful day. Time now for your fan weather forecast, brought to you by the Milwaukee Area Napa Auto Care Association. 59 degrees and sunny skies tonight, a low of 35, but don't worry, tomorrow a high of 71 degrees.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer hanging with you. Charlie Usen doing his thing as well. Coming up this hour, Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. Who would you like to quit talking? That can be your family members, friends, people on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, listeners on the network, people in sports. Doesn't matter who it is. Nominate your person now, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, or better yet, you can call in during that segment, and we'll do our best. Otherwise, Charlie always has a laundry list of people that he'd like to tell to shut up, so stay tuned for that, again, coming up at about 4:20. I told you before the break, another local show being added. He is the one and only Chuck Garbedian. Garbedian Garbedian on Golf will debut coming up on March 28th on Saturday mornings through the end of September from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Good afternoon, Chuck.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Been a while since we've seen each other. How have you been? What's going on?
I can't stop smiling. It's very funny. So, for people that don't understand how crazy this truly is,
this is nuts.
In 2005, Chuck Garbedian
I
and
got called into a meeting on my birthday. You ever
Oh.
hear this story?
No, maybe not.
I don't think I ever told you this story.
I was not in the meeting, so.
Benjamin, this is one of his favorite stories. My son, Benjamin. I got called into a meeting by the general manager at the time, Alan. Do you remember what his name is?
Kirschbaum.
Yes, Alan Kirschbaum. And I was in there, and the HR person was in there, and there's a folder full of stuff, and they're like, and it was like, well, it's my birthday. And so they said, you know, while you're here, and I went, it's my birthday. And the girl who's doing the HR is like, oh my God, are you kidding? And she's like, rifling through paperwork. She goes, oh, it is your birthday. I went, yeah. Is that's not what this is? And I was like, I'll have my attorney call your people. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna leave it. And then I called Darla in the parking lot, my wife Darla. And she said, what did they get you for your birthday? I said, an extended vacation. It'll be fun.
Crazy. But
that's radio.
Before they parted with Chuck.
Yeah.
Chuck Garbedian was the original morning show host back in Milwaukee on 1250 back in the day with a guy named Johnny Vaughn.
Yes, the late Johnny Vaughn.
Rest
in peace.
And that show didn't work out so well in the beginning.
No, not at all.
And then after some tryouts, Chuck and I ended up working together on that same morning show.
That was fun.
And I was telling Charlie Usen that anytime somebody brings up Chuck Garbedian to me, I always have the same story because of all the time I've known you, there was one thing that I still think to this day was an amazing idea. A golden idea.
Oh, yeah.
A golden idea,
Yes,
Chuck
it was.
Garbedian.
Yes, it was.
Back in the day, Marquette was looking to get rid of Warriors, and they wanted to change their nickname. And they were trying to figure out what it was going to be. So everybody was coming up with ideas of what it should be. So we had people calling in. Everybody had their idea.
Yep.
Nobody's idea to this day is better than what you had. Go ahead.
The idea I had is that you're in it's now the Fiserv Forum. You have where the Marquette plays, and you have the lights go completely black, and then the lights shine in a corner, and there in the corner is the Golden Pope.
So good.
The Marquette University Golden Popes. And he comes out in a little golf cart, and it's like the Fighting Irish when they have the leprechaun coming out. It's the same thing. He just comes out, and then as soon the crowd is dead silent until he raises his hands. And when he raises his hands, the place goes nuts. It's awesome.
So good.
It is awesome.
Chuck goes into detail back then of putting him in a golf cart like the Pope Cavalcade.
Yeah.
And he can go into like bars and like
bless people down
like the Golden Pope or whatever. I mean, Charlie.
Could you see me in the Deer District just blessing people
yes!
before they go in?
I
It'd be
love
awesome.
Yes.
People would be lining up for
and
that.
Everybody would want to be the Golden Pope at Marquette.
Yes, you'd have auditions
Yes,
for it. And,
everybody.
And you could have an audience with the Golden Pope. Could you imagine that? What you could sell that for?
Yes.
Could
no
you imagine
question.
the sports book in
Yes.
Potawatomi going, would you like an audience with the Golden Pope?
Pope?
If the Golden Pope showed up in Potawatomi, can you imagine the lines? It'd be
gosh.
insane. It'd be so good.
Crazy.
Yes, it'd be awesome.
Wasn't that a great idea?
I like it.
The
I like
Golden
it. They
Popes,
should go
the
with it.
T-shirts you would sell. You can sell the
Yes.
hats. The
Yes,
little
you would
Papo
have
hats.
the Marquette
Yes.
custom hats.
Could you
Could
imagine
sell
that?
them.
Can you
Yes.
imagine that during the Final
Yes.
Four? How good would that be? Marquette
Right.
gets to the Final Four, and there's a whole student section, and they're all wearing hats.
Yes.
They're wearing the papal hats. It's so good.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
It's
brilliant.
like Sister Gina Loyola. You're right there.
And
like
it's
that's
even
gonna range.
it's
Yes.
even better because it would last forever.
Exactly.
It would never change.
Nope.
Yes.
You'd have kids auditioning for it every year.
Every year.
And that, can you imagine that on a resume? If you're going through 1,000 resumes and you look down and go, this kid was the Golden Pope, bring this kid in. I want to talk to this kid.
Yes.
How did you get that gig? Because if you got that gig, man, you were something else.
I'm telling you, it was just such a brilliant idea. But back then, Garbedian on Golf also started back on 1250 in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Back then, too, doing his golf show as well on the weekends, and has gone on ever since. What is this year for you? 21?
This will be the 21st season.
21st
21
season.
seasons. And
That's amazing.
We've won multiple awards for the show, all the guests that we've had on, because I've done stuff with PGA Tour and XM and Sirius, so I know all the guys at Golf Channel, and so they all come out. Like Todd Lewis is coming on, and Rex Hoggard's coming
Look
on.
at you.
and Brandel Chambly's coming on. It's matter of fact, Alan Shipnuck has a new book out about Rory McIlroy, which is awesome, and he'll be on week 2. I think he's coming on April 4th because the book comes out April 8th.
Okay, so what are people, because we have College Sports Weekly on
Yes.
Saturdays from 9 to 11, And their deal, Don Chills and Dan Underberg, always say from Division 1 to Division 3. That's their kind of their little tagline, whatever else.
Sure.
For you, what is Garbinian on golf? If I tune in Saturday morning, starting on March 28th from 7 to 9, what is the gamut that you cover? Is it
any and everything in the game of golf, and as I call it, the great game of golf?
Only in the PGA Tour?
No, everything.
No,
everything. We do everything. I've done everything with it because the number of people that I know and involved with, both locally, nationally, internationally, because we do stuff with the British Open overseas or the Open Championship, depending on what your perspective is. It's anything and everything that goes along with the great game of golf. So it's from equipment to people to on-air personalities. We're working on Jim Nance right now prior to or just after the Masters.
Do you remember that story?
Yes, that was Mike Clemens.
Do you remember Jim Nance story? That was not Mike Clemens. That was Jim Nance.
Oh, when he came on.
When he called in.
Yes, he called in.
We were doing our show.
I remind him of that every once in a while.
Oh my God. I'll never forget that one either.
Yeah.
We're doing our show, Chuck and I, going through our thing, no big deal.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
another Tuesday,
the guy calls in and says, "Hey, I'm Jim Nance. I'd like to come on." And we're like, "It's not Jim Nance."
And it was.
And as soon as you hear his voice, you're like, "Yeah, that's Jim Nance." And he gave us some big kudos and props about how great our morning show was and how funny it was. And he was just, I think, on his way to Green Bay or from Green Bay or something.
I think it might have been on Monday or Tuesday because I think it was after a Packers.
Yeah,
game.
I think so.
It was like September.
Yeah.
So I think he was coming back from
wildest thing ever.
Yeah.
Could
just
not believe
out of the clear blue. It's
yes.
Like, oh,
That's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's another thing we can't forget. So you got Jim Nance on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do that too. We're
That's
gonna do all
good.
kinds of things. We'll do everything and anything.
Now,
That's what we do.
My next thing is this.
Is what?
Do you think, Chuck Arbedian, that by doing your show, you will get Charlie using over there to become invested potentially in the PGA Tour?
Sure.
You think so?
Oh yeah. Why not? Because it's about personalities more than anything else.
Absolutely.
That's what it's. I'm more fascinated with the people that are involved in the great game of golf rather than the thing itself. Because everybody, you can have a golf course and you can have a golf shop and you can have this and you can have that. The people who are involved in it are the real stars of what's going on. That's what makes it what it is. You go to different golf courses. Somebody owns that golf course. Somebody manages that golf course. Who are these people? How did they get there? How does this work? Some places you have a great experience with. Some places you don't. That's because of the people who are involved.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
It's what
all
it is
part
more
of
than
it.
anything else.
How good is this state compared to others when we talk about quality of golf?
The state of Wisconsin, in terms of golf, is one of the best in the world. It's better than Florida. It's better than Arizona. And those are two of my favorite places because they have a lot of golf courses. But they have a lot of golf courses because A, they have land, and B, they have weather. If we had 12-month weather here, if we had the same weather as Scottsdale, you wouldn't be able to get a tee time because you have things like Sand Valley. You have Sand Valley, you have Whistling Straits, you have Erin Hills, you have what I'd consider one of the lost gems is Lake Geneva area because nobody goes down to Lake Geneva. You have
Chicago people go to Lake
right,
Geneva.
but you have Grand Geneva and Geneva National,
Sure.
which are two exceptional locations to go. You have places like Wild Rock in the Dells, which is just great because you can go stay at Wild Rock, have the kids go to the water park, and then go play.
That's great.
And you play a Herdston Fry design, which is the same two guys who designed Erin Hills, which held a U.S. Open. It all turns around and goes in circles, and it all goes back. If you look at Century World, that's the OG. That's the first one that started everything. That was the only golf course in Wisconsin that was ever talked about as being good enough to be on the board. Now it hardly gets mentioned simply because there's so many other options.
Yeah, you're right.
Because if you land in Milwaukee, you're going to Erin Hills. If you land in Milwaukee, you're going to Whistling because it's up on 43 and you can get there. Century World's kind of in the middle of the state. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. But now you have, Sand Valley. Sand Valley was constructed by the Kaiser family. They have kind of a history with Bandon. It's kind of pretty good what they did up there. It's amazing what they've done up there. And at first, when Mike Kaiser bought 700 acres to build the first two, which was Mammoth and Sand Valley, and then added the sandbox with it, and then went, you know what? This is pretty good. I'm thinking to buy the other 6,300 acres up there. Now they're building golf courses that are just insanely good out there. I was just down in Florida at the PGA Merchandise Show. I stopped at Streamsong, which is run by Kemper Sports. Streamsong has a course that's being opened by David McClay Kidd, who built Mammoth up in Sand Valley. So everything kind of always ties together. There's always some sort of a connection. It's always a Kevin Bacon thing. The one that they're building down at Streamsong is unbelievable. It's incredible. And I get to spend a day with David down there. He's coming on the program as well, just to talk about how they constructed the golf course. It's basically 18 holes. Each hole is $1 million. They spend $1 million on each hole.
How do we get to $1 million building a hole?
Well, because of the amount of soil you have to move, how you have to move it, where you have to move it. There are environmental issues that go along with it too, where you have to make sure you're doing the right thing. You're not upsetting a tree frog or a blade of grass. But it's also making sure that it's playable, that you get people who are come down there. You don't want to get you'll make a golf course for the masses so everybody can play, and then what you do is you'll move it back a little bit in certain areas, certain places, so if you have a better handicap and you want to play harder, you can
make it more difficult.
But you want most everybody to play it. You don't want them to walk out there going, this is the worst experience I've ever had, I'm never going. You gotta get punched in the face 18 holes in a row. You want to have a really good time for everybody should move up a tee just for fun, if nothing else. See how many birdies you can make,
right?
Then tell me how easy it is, because it's not. You go to Sand Valley, you have a great time. You go to Aaron, you play the right tees, you have a great time. You go to Wild Rock and play the right tees, you have a great time. You play the wrong tees, that's when it's miserable. It's just off.
Charlie, good news is everyone is the wrong tee for me.
Yeah,
everyone.
That's about where I'm at too. But
the wrong tee for me.
You got to ask me your question that you didn't get to on the show a couple days ago.
What was
about
that?
Playing with, being a single and playing with random people.
Oh, we never
It's
did
fun.
it. We never did it on the show.
It's fun.
Because it came up on social media. And the guy got a ton of responses about his experience, and then there was another guy on there talking about how he was a starter, I forget at what golf course, for like 10 or 12 years, and talked about all the different stories that happened, including an ambulance and a guy taking a golf club and beating somebody in the back with it at the end of the course, and so forth.
Those are other problems.
And there was another one where he matched up a guy with a couple, and they were apparently in litigation against each other.
Oh, nice.
And they're like, oh, good. You can hassle it, figure it out on the golf course. There you go. See you later. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Out you go.
We'll play 9 holes, match play.
But
whoever wins.
But that is something. And I can't imagine everybody likes having a single match with them necessarily. But I know there are people that always go as a single and enjoy meeting new people and doing their thing.
Well, it depends on kind of who you are, what you do. If you're a single and you're going, you have to understand that the experience might not be what you think it might be, that you might run into people. Some guys show up and they book a foursome. They only have 3 because one guy can't make it. He's working today and he can't make it. It'll be like a day like tomorrow where it'll be beautiful. It'll be 70 degrees and a foursome will be booked, but a threesome will show up and it's like, yeah, the guy couldn't get, his wife would let him go or whatever happens. Okay, well then there might be a single there who joins you. And some people don't like sharing a cart with another person that they don't know.
Correct.
But the thing is with the great game of golf is you get the opportunity to meet other people. You'd be surprised at the people that sometimes you meet, the most unassuming people. We had a guy came out and at one of the golf courses and was just like, he didn't look like anything. The guy was worth 30 or $40 million. And these guys had no idea. And they got done playing. He goes, he was really nice. We had a really nice time. He picked up the bar tab and everything. It was really nice of him. I'm like, do you know who that is? And they're like, no. And I explained who it was, and they just looked at me, and the guy's like, I would have been way nicer. I told him he couldn't have a putt, and I should have given it to him. Yeah, you really should have given it to him, because he might have given you something back. Like, here's a business card.
I'm sure he wanted to be treated like a normal person and didn't want any special treatment. That's what, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people that have that type of money don't want to be treated differently.
No.
They just want to live the life of a normal dude.
But see, golf is a great game that you can do that.
Yeah.
You can show up and you can go play places. You can go to Pebble, you can go to Bandon, you can go to Stream Song, you can go to a number of different places by yourself. And just, if I have an extra day and you go play golf with a bunch of people and you just go, hey, I'm just in town, this is what's going on, and everybody's like, pretty cool. Very rarely have we run into people where it isn't like some sort of a thing. Very rarely. It happens sometimes because some people are kind of goofy, but for the most part, everybody's like, cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
Garbedian. Oh, you got something else?
Can I break in with some breaking news?
Sure.
From the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yes.
Jacob Mizorowski is your opening day
starter.
starter.
Finally. Go get a Miz.
All right. That's good.
It's courtesy of the Milwaukee Brewers.
It is only the White Sox, but it's opening day.
Wow.
It's more the thing. How many opening days have you been to?
Oh,
do you know?
Probably like 10 or something like
that. Yeah,
because
I worked for the club from 84 through 2000.
It's
so
not
I did a bunch of them.
It's not my thing.
No, I had to be there for a lot of them. Once I got done doing it, I'm like, I don't have to go another opening day again. But the whole thing is a party.
Yes.
The best thing was when we were at the Brewers, I ran the scoreboard at County Stadium and did all the sound at County Stadium. The coolest thing was one of the years we played the Toronto Blue Jays. And you know how they would do, the opening day would be one day, then there'd be an open day just in case there was snow or rain.
Just like next week, even though you have a dome on the stadium.
Right. And then the next day was the play day. So there'd be like a 2-game series. So we played the Blue Jays one year. We opened on opening day and it was like 50. It wasn't bad. The next day was beautiful. It was like 75 and sunny. And then the third day, the front moved through. and it became 30 degrees with 20-mile-an-hour winds off the lake. And we were at County Stadium. There was no
protection
at all. So we were busy counting in the bleachers. We had 31 people. There was like 7 in left field, 8 in left center, 2 in right. And then it's like, and that's all you did. We counted 900 people.
We had John Greenberg on. We have Greenberg on a lot on Wednesdays, like 4:45, and talking about the Admirals and stuff. And I brought up to him we had him on this week on Wednesday about opening day and so forth. And, obviously they don't have to worry about a game getting canceled or anything like that, like they did American Family Field. But I was like, man, I remember sitting in the stands in April with Tim Allen, watching games in the snow.
Yeah.
Like snowing out.
Yep.
And you could barely see the outfield because the snow was coming down so hard, and they did not stop playing. They kept playing. They kept playing through the snow.
That's awesome.
But that's what it was. But then you would have people like trying to get rid of their tickets. $5 diamond box seats. We spent $5 each, and we sat in the second row.
Yeah.
At County Stadium. It was great.
You get a foul ball?
Yeah. Nope. Never in my life.
Still?
Never in my life.
Oh.
Never in my life.
You want one? I'll get you one.
No, I'm good. Check Garbinian on golf Saturday mornings from 7 to 9. 7 to 9.
Yes.
I'm old.
I don't want to be late for my tea time.
Do not be late. No, 7 to 9 on Saturday morning. Charlie Hughes will be producing the show. Starts on March 28th. So a week from tomorrow will be the first show. Chuck, thanks so much for coming up.
Thank you, my friend. Good to see you.
There he is, Chuck Garbini. Coming up next, Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish, and Rotiers, Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Welcome back, Wisconsin Sports Daily. If you missed Chuck Garbedian, Garbedian on Golf starts a week from tomorrow, March 28th. Saturday mornings from 7 to 9 through the month of September. Tomorrow, College Sports Weekly with our guy Down with Chillis and Dan Underberg. Charlie Usen producing for that one here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. You're going to hear lots of Charlie on Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. He'll be on with Chuck. He'll be on with the guys in College Sports Weekly. You are going to just be bringing a whole different kind of wealth of knowledge to the show going forward.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to work with all these guys. I've already worked with Chuck, or not Chuck, Don and Dan on College Sports Weekly. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit dismal. I'm going to assume we're not going to be very happy about what the Badgers did this past
They'll
week.
make it fun.
They always make it fun, though. But we're going to dive into what right guard moving forward, what the plans are going to be with that. And then with Garbine on golf, I was just talking to Chuck as we were walking the hallway. I was like, I think I've decided my favorite golfer is Min Woo Lee. He's a guy from Australia. He's been in a lot of these pro tournaments. He just goes, yeah, we can work on getting him on. I was like, all right, cool. That works for me. I'm happy about that.
Hey, Garbini knows everybody in golf. Everybody, I tell you. Hey, Thursday, home opener party coming up again at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Would love to see you out there at the Annex at the Potawatomi Casino. And again, it starts at 9 a.m., 9 to noon with John Kuhn. We'll be broadcasting with Rami Makloff from 9 to 11, 11 to 1, the leadoff show. Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz. Then, when the game is done, from 4 to 6 p.m., Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz will still be there at Potawatomi in the Annex doing the Potawatomi Sportsbook baseball postgame show. So definitely want to stay tuned for that. Head on down to the Annex. Check it out. If you got tickets to the game, they have shuttles to and from the game at Potawatomi. Shuttles being departed at 11 a.m. Return shuttles start at the top of the 7th inning and go until 1 hour after the game. So definitely want to make sure you are all in on that one. With that being said, let's do this right here.
It's a Plead the Fifth Friday, sponsored by Habish and Rotier. Who should have just kept their mouth shut? Who made a bad decision commenting on a topic they shouldn't have? Let's hear who you think should plead the fifth this week on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
All right, here we are. Our thanks to Habish and Rotier. Find them online again at habish.com. Your chance to tell somebody to shh. Pipe down. Embarrassing yourself at this point. All right, Charlie, where are we going first?
All right, so first up, the person we're going to hear from is not who I want to plead the fifth, but the topic that he's talking about is what I want to discuss and what I don't like. This is Eric Kratz on Foul Territory, discussing the New York Mets experimenting with calling pitches from the dugout, ultimately eliminating the catcher's input on a lot of these situations.
I mean, for me, I would call the pitches. Whether the pitcher liked how I was calling the game or not, they would shake off. So that's the traditional way it's always going. You're reading the swings. You're looking at the situation. You're also remembering all the numbers in your head. You build out your own scouting report. You remember, oh yeah, how did that pitcher face this guy in his career? Is it one at bat? Did he have 20 at bats against him? And so all that goes into the decision that now is on a pitch clock. So we heard from the Marlins. The Marlins are doing hey, we're calling the pitches. We've also heard from their pitchers that if they don't want it, they can shake it off. I don't know how much leeway Agustin Ramirez, a catcher for the Marlins, will have in saying, okay, maybe I don't like that call, or maybe I'm already have something in my mind. I haven't heard enough of that, but we know from the pitchers, I think Tyler Phillips was on, he said, if you don't like it, it's a suggestion and you can shake it off. The Mets, I think, are going what I would consider the next tier down, which is something that I think has been done. I think it's been done in different places because you sit there and you go, you don't have all the answers as a catcher. Some catchers would say, yeah, you just throw whatever I call.
This is a tricky one for me because calling every single pitch from the dugout seems really dumb to me. You have to have some freedom for your catcher and belief that they know what they're doing. If you've stripped them of that ability to have that freedom, I think that player probably is like, wow, this dude doesn't trust me to call a game. I mean, you kill that dude's confidence at that point if you are going to do that. Like if you watch a basketball game or high school basketball game, there are some coaches that call every single play. And then there are other coaches that give their players a lot of freedom. And to a degree in college, too, I think there are some coaches that are that over the top and not trusting their players to make the right decisions. I am not a fan of that necessarily. I don't mind a whistle or something at the catcher to call a pitch in a big situation. Like, okay, we're going to call this here. I know what I want. Okay, that I don't mind. But every single pitch, that would drive me nuts.
Right. Just constantly being checked over your shoulder, whether or not you're doing the right thing. And I already feel like the way that ABS has been implemented doesn't fully get rid of this pitch framing that the catchers have gotten so good at, but it kind of limits that ability for some of these guys, especially if you're good at it and guys are just going to keep calling you out on it over and over throughout a game, especially if they're right, they can just keep doing that. So you're already taking away that way for them to make money. But now if teams start doing it from the dugout, start calling the pitches from the dugout, overriding what the catcher is doing or saying himself, you're taking another aspect that can hurt his contracts in the future. I think that's a little unfair to the catchers too.
No question. And, you know, the other part about this is knowing the umpire and knowing how an umpire is calling a game, what pitches they're calling. Again, we go back to the World Baseball Classic. Oh, my goodness, that wasn't a strike. It was below the strike zone. That dude had been calling low strikes all day long. If you'd been watching the game, he'd been calling that all day. Like, it wasn't a surprise at all. He called it, I said, well, he's been calling it all day. I mean, he was relatively consistent for most of that game calling that pitch. Like, I don't know. That drives me nuts. But again, sometimes if a catcher's involved in it, maybe he's not realizing what's going on. And those guys in the dugout have a very good understanding of what he's calling and may want something called in a certain situation. All right, what's next?
Next up, we're going to hear from Texas Tech head basketball coach Grant McCaslin, and he says people are dumb if they pay attention to the seeding in the NCAA tournament.
No, we didn't talk about it, honestly. I mean, I've played in this game as a 13 seed, and the more you make out of like, I just tried to show them the realities of this. This team's stinking good. I mean, they can put pressure on you. Like, let's not make this more than what it is. If you put the number by somebody's name and you try to determine how hard you're going to play by a number, then you're dumb. I mean, to me, let's look at what they do well and let's try to take it away. And let's talk about what we do well that they can't handle. And let's really focus on that. So ours was really focused on game plan, effort, and how do we execute on every possession, and let y'all talk about all these seeds and numbers, because we saw their jersey and it was blue and ours was white, and we wanted the white team to win. And that's the way we approached it.
Okay. So remember, that's a coach's son. Right. And his dad was there cheering him on and going nuts. Phil Martelli was one of my favorite guys. Back in the day when I produced the afternoon show in Milwaukee, back when the station was getting going, literally like the first few months before I ended up on the morning show, we used to have Phil Martelli on all the time. Such a nice guy, dude. Talked to him multiple times. Such a good dude. And so now his son is doing his thing. That whole I don't see color, or I don't see jersey name, or I don't, stop with that crap. Like, whoever says that just is full of, you know what? There's just no chance, man. You know who you're playing. Mm-hmm. You know the reputation of the team you're playing. You know the talent that they have on that team versus what you have on your team. You're not dumb. Now, I'm not saying you go in expecting to lose, but you know who you're playing. Don't try and sell me on, well, we see a blue jersey and we're wearing white. Then the white jersey came out. Come on, man.
Or the opposite way around. And the reason I wanted to play this clip too is because of what we've been talking about with Team USA in the World Baseball Classic is just this idea that, oh yeah, the Team USA care, Team USA care. They wanted to be there. But to say that you go out there and you play every game 100%, no matter who is out in front of you, is a lie. I think if you are that good, if you're Texas Tech, who are consistently a top 5 seed in this tournament year in, year out, you are going into these first round games not really expecting much from your opponent. And yeah, they may stun you in the first half a little bit, and then you start to pick it up. But nobody ever starts any of these games thinking that they are going to lose right away. And that's crazy to pretend like you do.
Yep, absolutely right. All right, what do you got next?
And last up here, this is from last night. This is Bam Adebayo discussing Luka Doncic's 60 points versus the Heat.
Nah, he has some tough shots out there. Like, it is what it is. I know what it's like to be in that mode. As people can see, it's not easy to get 80. But
and then he clears his throat.
He made some tough shots. And and you tip your hat off and you keep it pushing. No.
You need to stop, Bam. You need to stop.
I think he was trying to joke, but then nobody in the room laughed at all, so that he just made it more awkward.
Comparing that game to his game, I mean, again, I try to help defend him a little bit at that point. But, I mean, the shots Luka was hitting versus the shots Bam was hitting. Bam made half his points at the free throw line. I mean, that's a large difference versus what was going on there with Luka.
And again, I think he was joking. I think he was trying to be like tongue in cheek a little bit, like saying, "Oh yeah, I got 80 points," but also at the same time, dude, you're trying to humble brag a little bit too, or whatever that was, and nobody bought it. Like, no, the way people have been talking about your game too. You're not oblivious to that,
right?
So you can't go out here and just pretend like, "Oh yeah, this is a better game than anybody else." You got your flowers on that night. People have been talking down on it. Just let it go. Just let your name be in that record book. Stop bringing it up, or more people will keep bringing up how fake it is.
Plead the fifth, Bam. Plead the fifth. That's what we're doing right now. Plead the fifth, brought to you by Havish Rotier. If you want to nominate somebody to plead the fifth and tell them to shush it, call in, text in right now, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. You know a guy that probably has been told to hush it quite a few times in his career?
Who's that?
Jameis Winston, right? I mean, from time to time he's been told. Do you realize, I just saw the story, Netflix has added Jameis Winston as special guest on MLB opening night?
Well, and WFAN, a clip that I played earlier from Tiki Barber, those guys, they were talking about that too, and they were saying that this kind of makes that whole idea of the opening day broadcast just like feel less big than it actually is, and that adding just random celebrities into this broadcast just lessens the value that broadcast has. It's weird. I don't know. Again, just adding random people doesn't make sense. I get it. You're trying to grow the popularity of baseball. But
hold on. No, that's not true. That's not true. Adding random people makes sense if they have a large enough fan base to draw to come watch them. If I put Taylor Swift in place of Jameis Winston, my numbers are going to explode. If I put Jameis Winston in, I don't think it changes my ratings
Taylor
numbers.
Swift, in my mind, like
that's a big difference.
Even in regard to
if I put
baseball.
Oprah on opening day, there's gonna be viewers are coming because they love Oprah and they want to see Oprah. Same with Taylor Swift. There aren't a ton of people maybe that come for. There aren't a ton of people that do that have that mass effect. But Jameis Winston is definitely not one of those people. Like Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce would draw more people to watch MLB that may not than Jameis freaking Winston.
Well, and what I was trying to say is Taylor Swift's not like random. Like if you could get Taylor Swift to be on this broadcast, that's not a random celebrity. That's the celebrity to get on your broadcast. Patrick Mahomes, even to some degree, and he at least has that connection. I guess Jameis Winston does too. He was drafted in the MLB, and that's probably part of the reason that they're bringing him on there. But Patrick Mahomes has that MLB kind of connection with his dad in that spot. So, yes, he's not as random. Like Jameis Winston is a random person to be bringing on.
Russell Wilson played?
Yeah, that would be random too, because he just doesn't have the same kind of carrying power in his actual job either.
Well, have you brought Sierra with him?
Maybe. But even then, I think that's a relatively random celebrity to be talking about in an MLB broadcast.
They're just trying to get more people to watch. And again, it's Netflix. I ain't watching. Apple Brewers Apple Game of the Week. Not watching that either. Like, just telling you, I'm not going to buy an app to watch a baseball game or two baseball games. There's absolutely no chance that's happening. I guess I'll miss the game or listen to it on the radio. That'll probably be the way we go about it. You got anything else?
I just want to bring this up. Ziggy on the Nicolay Law text line 414-677-1250 says, since the Bucks are tanking, can we get Giannis a 100-point game, bring him back for one game and sit him down? Let's not pretend like Bam's game wasn't intentional.
Sure, fine.
Yeah, I'm down for that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, sure, fine. I don't know if Doc will be down for it.
But I think Giannis would also do it and say, yeah, I'm done with the Bucks. But at least he got a 100-point game.
That's the whole big thing. Like, he wants to come back to, play a few more games for Bucks fans. Okay. If that's what that is, then say it.
Mm-hmm.
Then get in front of the cameras.
So this is the farewell, man.
Just so y'all know, like, I've asked to be traded this offseason, or not asked to be out traded in the offseason. I've told them I'm not convinced yet necessarily sign the max player option. So if they decide to trade me, this very well may be it for me. So if you want to come out and hang out, check me out on the way out. This may be it, Milwaukee. That's why I'm coming back. Fine, come on.
People would feel a lot better about that. I guess not good, but they'd feel a little better than what's going on right now.
Come on out and say it. That's why you're coming back. You ain't coming back to try and get this team in the playoffs. That ship has sailed. That one is all done. Coming up next, we will follow the money with Austin Herdina. Plus, Things Sparky Miss brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky, fight for Charlie Usen. Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up. Tommy Wirtz, the big old hunger love, is in the house tonight from 5 until 6. Definitely want to hang out for that. College Sports Weekly, Don with Chillis, Dan Underberg, Saturday mornings from 9 to 11. Sure, tune those guys in tomorrow. Charlie thinks it could be a little bit depressing talking about the Badgers being booted out. But, I mean, those guys have been doing this for, 7 or 8 years now. They're used to the Badgers losing in the first weekend.
Well,
this is old hat for them.
There's other Wisconsin teams in tournaments right now. I know, like, the women's hockey team is doing really well, is in the Frozen Four over there. You got the women's basketball team. You got other options. Or Green Bay's women's basketball team.
Green Bay women's basketball team. Yeah, they're really good. So that's coming up tomorrow from 9 to 11. Now, this dude here is in a different place, looking different. I don't know what's going on. We'll talk to him right now. Here we go.
It's time to follow the money with Austin Herdina, the sportsbook manager of the Potawatomi Sportsbook on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
All right, here we are. Austin Herdina joining us now on the guest hotline. Powered by Gruber Law. One call that's all looking completely different. I just sat next to this man yesterday in the annex, the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I don't know where he is now. Parts unknown for our guy. What's going on, dude?
This is my office behind the sportsbook. I got 4 walls, no windows, just my own little cave.
I don't think I'd ever be in there. I think I'd try to be out of that office as much as humanly possible. I think I'd go stir crazy. Or maybe you have one of those pictures that look like you're looking outside or something to make you feel
Can you
a bit
paint
different.
the walls? Like something? Paint the window on there?
I have some UFC and boxing promotional posters on my walls.
So you just need some Bears stuff and you'll feel right at home then, Austin.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not a Bears fan. I just sometimes, I think they're going to win. It's okay to say.
I love it. Whatever. All right, Austin Herdina, how are we feeling about today's action that we've seen so far? And how did last night go for Potawatomi?
Last night was great. Today's been great. Very lively here today. I'll tell you what, that Santa Clara and Kentucky game.
Yes, overtime.
The pop that we heard in here when, Santa Clara hit the 3 and then Kentucky came and tied it up at the buzzer. I don't think this room has been as loud as it was for those few seconds.
Really?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Everyone's having a good time. Right now, Utah State and Villanova are in a close one. We're pretty heavy on Utah State, so the book is cheering for Villanova right now. And Miami, Ohio, and Tennessee, a lot of people are on Tennessee. They're up 19 already, so Tennessee's looking pretty good.
I don't have my bracket in front of me, but I think I took Utah State in that Villanova game too. I think I'm one of the guys that took Utah State there. So I'm feeling all right about that. I thought Miami of Ohio would do something with Tennessee, or at least keep it close. I mean, that's already a 20-point game for the most part, 19 points. But Miami of Ohio already did their job, right? They already won a tournament game. So from that perspective of getting them in, it kind of is like, okay, we went in, we won a game, that counts. Or in your mind, does that still not count? Would you not have put them in?
Yeah, Miami, Ohio, they had such a great year. Undefeated regular season.
30 wins. Yep.
I mean, the first round exit in their conference tournament, that was definitely a downer for them. But just winning in the first 4, getting to where they are, I think if you go back to the beginning of the season and ask them, hey, was this a successful year? They would say absolutely. So yeah. I think they got, they're going to hold their heads high even if they end up losing this game today.
Our guy, Austin Herdina, Potawatomi Sportsbook Manager, joining us. Follow the money on Wisconsin Sports Daily. All right, Austin, give me a couple games you like tonight.
I'll tell you what, Purdue against Queens University. The line is 25.5. Other than the Duke game, a lot of these big seeds have been, looking pretty good and rolling pretty good. I like Purdue minus 25.5 on that one. They've really started to come on late. They started the season as number 1 in the rankings, did not play like that this season, actually fell out of the top 25 at one point. But they're playing their best ball right now, and that's what it matters. So give me Purdue minus 25.5. And then a lot of bettors are on St. John's. Not just today, minus 10.5, but we've had a good amount of bets on St. John's to make the Sweet 16 and to even win their region. And they're getting pretty good price in that region, being that they're in a region with some other big schools like, Duke and Kansas, UConn, et cetera. So, Yeah, a lot of St. John's love. A third game that I've seen a lot of bets on already today is Kansas and California Baptist. A lot of people are taking the plus 14.5 on California Baptist. And
God bless you for knowing anything about California Baptist. God bless you.
I don't, but I'll tell you one thing. I've watched a lot of Kansas games this year, and there's not another team out there that's more inconsistent than Kansas.
Yes.
Like, they can beat the best team, and they can lose to the bottom feeders. Like, it's – so who knows? So, I mean, California Baptist getting 14.5, a late Friday night game, why not? So I understand why people are going there.
Wild stuff. There he is, Austin Herdenia. Go down, say hi to him, ask for him so you can get him out of his office at some point. He's down there today. He's down there all day tomorrow as well. Sunday is his off day. Conveniently, the off day when it's first come, first serve on Sunday for everybody. So, again, first come, first serve. If you don't have reserve tables for today or if you don't have reserve tables for tomorrow, you don't need them for Sunday. So you get down there nice and early, or maybe you sleep over in the sports book, whatever they allow you to do down there, and you can watch the entire thing. You don't have to pay a food and beverage fee or a nominal fee that goes towards your food and beverage, like I always talk about. Literally, first come, first serve on Sunday. If I were you, I'd take advantage of it. Austin, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You betcha. There he is, Austin Herdenia, our guy from the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Do appreciate his time, and we got to wrap this thing up right here.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
I do want to talk about another gambling story on the way out here because we haven't talked about Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz. They were transferred to the unpaid non-disciplinary leave Friday following an agreement between Major League Baseball and the MLB Players Association. Previously, the pitchers were on paid non-disciplinary leave. They've pled not guilty to multiple conspiracy charges for allegedly receiving money to throw pitches for balls intentionally to benefit gamblers who wagered on individual pitches being balls or strikes. Class A $6.4 million salary in 26 is part of a 5-year, $20 million contract extension signed in April of 22. Because he has yet to reach arbitration, Ortiz's expected salary would be near the major league minimum of $780,000.
I mean, it feels weird that they weren't automatically just kind of on that unpaid list, that the fact that they just pleading not guilty gets you paid for a few months, not a few months, 6 months almost at this point. That's a little frustrating that, again, it's taking this long, especially when we're, as sports fans, so hard on the NBA right now with a lot of the stuff that's going on there. Not only the aspiration and Clippers, but the betting scandals that they've had as well. And people frustrated with the way they've handled that. Why are people not as frustrated with the way this is being handled or why this is taking as long?
And check this out. The move from paid to unpaid leave for both of these guys, however, comes in the wake of the evidence thus far presented in the Eastern District of New York's case against the two of them.
Huh. So it feels like they were waiting for the government to tell them what to do with these two guys at this point. Again, I feel like all these leagues do their own internal investigations.
Charlie.
You should have already been at that point.
In a separate court hearing, attorneys for Class A said they identified at least 250 pitches on which bets were placed.
Put them on unpaid right away.
At least 250. And asked the government to disclose discovery on any additional pitches alleged to be part of the conspiracy.
I just feel like you can't be
goodness.
worried
That's
about
a ton.
like Class A like coming back at you with some other kind of litigation because you're worried about the evidence not being there yet. Just make him unpaid. Like, that's obvious. You have that evidence yourself. Why did you wait this long?
I'll never understand when you're making millions of dollars and that type of contract. What are you doing? Why would you throw that all away?
And he's good
at the
too.
end of the day?
Like, he's just a good pitcher. Just be a good pitcher, dude.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Okay, so that'll do it for today's show. Wrap up the week as well. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, we got baseball. Starts on Thursday. Leadoff show, 11-1 down at the Annex at Potawatomi Casino and Hotel from 11-1. We got the Potawatomi postgame Potawatomi Sportsbook baseball postgame show. I can talk with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz as well from 4 to 6 at the Annex on Thursday. So come on out, hang out, watch a bunch of baseball, and have a lot of fun coming up on Thursday. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the warm weather today and tomorrow. Get outside. Take advantage of it because then it's going to get cold again for the rest of the week, it looks like. Enjoy the night, Wisconsin. Have a good one. Toodles!